Namaste Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Saishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vishavahe. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukh Bhagavave. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. Namaste, good evening, and welcome to day 27 of the Atma Chalisa Parayanam. Actually, I feel like being in silence today. The energy is so incredible. I'm sure very soon you'll all be engulfed by this energy because it's just so overpowering and it's so strong and it's so present. So yesterday we spoke about that life is a game. And we need to, once we remove the stakes from life, knowing fully well that all misery comes from our attachments, all sorrow and pain and suffering comes from our attachments. And that is what the mind specializes in. And mind keeps us hooked into this life. And therefore we come again and again. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. It keeps happening till we realize one day that I've had enough and there must be something else to it. And once we detach out of sheer exhaustion and frustration, then we start to experience something so profound. We start to feel so light. We start to feel a sense of freedom because all the hooks that were binding us down, all the entanglements that were created by the mind, they all disappear. And we start experiencing a sense of lightness. And that lightness makes life joyful because whatever comes our way, we receive it with enthusiasm, with a sense of adventure, with a sense of excitement, that it is something that we need to deal with. And not just deal with it skillfully, because we've come here to hone our skills and do what we need to do very, very skillfully and bring perfection in the very idea of our being. The way we look at things, the way we do things, that perfection starts to seep in. And as soon as this attitude of ours, as our perspective to life changes, as it shifts, something shifts inside of us. Because now that heavy baggage or load of life that we are carrying suddenly goes away. And, all these things that our mind makes a mountain out of, even a few hours of less sleep, starts to create challenges with us. And for me, anything that comes, for example, as I told you yesterday, you saw me having a bad cold that just came before the session and it lasted till the morning. it's something that has come, you deal with it. You don't, even if your body is saying it is not feeling well, you just deal with it, and you don't give it any importance. You do not give it any attachment, and it goes away. The more we think about it, the more we start to, focus on it. Anything you focus on grows. And that's how thoughts actually hook us. So it comes, you say, welcome, you're here. Okay, I'll deal with you. And that's it. If you do not give it importance, it does not take importance from you, right? So like this in life, everything comes. Everything comes for a reason. You don't have to start analyzing the reason behind it and go into past lives and this life and somebody said this and somebody had that. There's no reason for that. It has come. It's a game. You look at it. And as we said in one of our earlier sessions, that the key to the problem or the solution of the problem is lying in the problem itself. And many times when you ask me questions, I keep telling you, the answer is lying in your question itself. And if you reflect, if you do manana, and if you think about it, it's always been our experience that when we sit with ourselves, then the question actually disappears, because the question was never there. It was the mind creating it. So and if you understand that that's the mechanics of this body-mind duo, and if you are operating from a higher consciousness and you're not giving it any, more importance, it just falls away. So today I want to pick up the thread from this discussion, and I want to talk about what the Katha Upanishad talks about and what we, need to also put into practice, which is the concept of that you use a thorn to remove a thorn that has, pricked you, or that has got stuck in your foot or in your hand or in any part of your body, and you use another thorn to take out that thorn from your body, and then you discard it. And then you discard both the thorns, the one which was embedded and the one which you have used. Now, why am I talking about this again? We spoke about it in one of the earlier sessions. I am speaking in two particular contexts here. First context is the context of the mind. We remember we've spoken about a lower mind and a higher mind. The higher mind is the intellect. It is the purified mind, which is actually a mind which is subservient and which is under the control of the consciousness. That mind actually we need to take out the lower mind, the one which troubles us with desires, attachments, and thoughts. So we need somewhere, because when we say that we've done a manana and we want to put it into practice and bring it into our nididhyasana, then the mind is still troubling us, right? Especially with attachments. The mind still troubles us. So we still need to throw that thought out of us, or that attachment out of us. So we actually need the help of the higher mind to throw out this attachment. So, and yesterday in this beautiful session that we had of sharing, some of you gave the answer to that when you have to take that last step forward, when you have to move in, then you need faith. Then you need faith on the words of a master, of a teacher, of a guru, of a friend, whatever you want to call it. The name is not important. As long as you are receptive to learning from somebody, then that person, by whatever title, name called, if you have faith in that any particular person, it helps us to remove that thorn, and therefore the higher mind is itself essential for us to transcend the lower mind. So therefore, what I'm saying is that at that point where you take the decision that yes, I'm going to do it. Like some of you took decision on that, yes, we are going to follow what is being discussed here. And therefore we had faith. And that faith brought us results, because the mind said, okay, there is some logic to follow. What is that logic to be followed? The logic is to be followed of a guide who is promising us to take us to a journey which we are not sure of. The mind is creating doubts. The mind is saying, oh, am I going to be in trouble, right? And then the mind says, all right, there is a skilled journeyman who's seen the path, a guide, he can take us to that journey. And therefore, the mind starts to, and this is called surrender. The lower mind learns to surrender, and slowly the lower mind starts to merge with the higher mind, and it becomes what we call as the no mind. Okay? So this is a very important thing that you must understand, that when you come to that point to do or not to do, at that point of time, you still need the mind to say, okay, let's do it. The second aspect where it comes, which is where this first point leaves, is the role of the guru. Where does this guru step in, right? The guru steps in as a physical person. And as we said in the 9 steps to divinity on day 1, that once the disciple or the seeker is ready, the guru steps into our life. The teacher is waiting for that seeker to appear, and the teacher steps forward to fulfill at that point of time the needs of the seeker. And this role of the gurus keep changing. In your life, many such gurus keep coming. And as we discussed, that Dattatreya had 24 such gurus. And at any point of time, for what we need, there is somebody who appears. And a lot of time, we become rigid with our attachments, and we build up attachments to the physicality or to the essence of that particular guru. Now, I'll give you a few examples, and I'll give you an example out of my own journey and my own experience, so that perhaps you can relate to it. When I started going to Puttaparthi to meet Baba, I started to meet a lot of devotees from all countries, and I started to hear their experiences. And it was very fascinating to, hear their journeys and, how they came in touch with him. And then there was something odd that I found, that Baba would tell a lot of his devotees to go to a particular guru. And many devotees I know he sent towards Maharishi Ramana. Many devotees he sent towards Swami Rama. Many devotees I know, went to there was a Guruji in Vrindavan, he would tell them to go there, right? So I used to wonder, when you have a guru, Paraguru, like Satya Sai Baba, the avatar, divine incarnate, why does he send people on their path to gurus like Ramana, Swami Rama, and, other gurus? I didn't get the answer. And I just thought it was quite, it was something that I just didn't agree, and therefore I felt that it is incorrect. And slowly I started to experience that there is something that you need to still acquire, for which the master knows now what kind of a teacher you require. It's like different subjects are taught by different teachers. And as the student advances, the principal of the institution or the vice chancellor of the university decides, now this particular student requires this teacher. And the teachers do a kind of a handoff from one to the other. How do I say this? I say this from my own personal experience. First of all, as I told you, I used to follow Shirdi Sai Baba. And almost for 1 full year, when I came in touch with Satya Sai Baba, I absolutely avoided him. I remember I used to go to the science center, and there used to be these 2 life-size, 6 feet tall pictures of Shirdi Sai on one side of the shrine and Satya Sai Baba on the other side. And I remember that I used to only look towards the Shirdi Sai photograph. And I would not even look at Satya Sai Baba's photograph, thinking, oh, I don't want to be with this guru. I have a guru and I'm very happy with Shirdi Sai Baba. Can you imagine, for 1 year, I even avoided looking at the picture of Satya Sai Baba. And because there was an adamancy in my heart, I was so convinced that I don't need anyone else. So I just avoided it. Till one day, he just got hold of me, and, I found myself in Puttaparthi. And after that, Satya Sai Baba became the breath of my life. He was the very essence of my existence. And I just couldn't think of being. And I realized how quickly I had moved away from Shirdi Baba to Satya Sai Baba. And now, had he not pushed me hard, I would have not come to be in his presence. And once I was in this presence, I realized, oh my God, how the master calls you. and how your mind, sometimes you think it's your heart, but it's actually your mind which is so stubborn. It has a stubborn streak. It just refuses to accept something which is in front of you. And then my romance and my love affair, my torrid love affairs with Satya Sai Baba started. And my life was so beautiful. And people used to talk about other gurus. People used to talk about dikshas and mantras, and I used to laugh at them. We have a mantra called love all, serve all. What other mantra do we need? And then one fine day, as the story of life goes, how you're led into situations. I was very fond of Swami Rama because of his readings. I had read his book called Living with the Himalayan Masters. The two books that have really impacted me profoundly were, of course, the autobiography of the yogi, and then Living with the Himalayan Masters. And somehow I used to always relate with Swami Rama, seeing a lot of similarities between both of us. Whenever I would hear his talks on YouTube, or when I would read his books, I would feel I'm writing this or I'm saying this. I don't know why it used to happen. So I kind of had a lot of love for him. And then in Noida, where I lived, there was a devotee, a very close devotee of Bhagwan Baba. She had the good fortune of having more than 100 interviews with Swami in Puttaparthi and in Whitefield. She was sent by Swami to take Diksha from Swami Rama. And we all adored her, a great singer. And she, at one point of time, got inspired to open a center of Swami Rama, of the Himalayan Masters Center in Noida. And because I loved Swami Rama, because I loved her, she had an ashram there, and there we would go often for bhajans or for programs. So one of these times, they were celebrating the first anniversary of the ashram, and the Swamiji from Rishikesh had come. And we were called for this event that was happening, where a lot of people had been given dikshas, and there was a satsang in the evening, followed by prasadam. So me and my wife decided that we were not going because we were not interested. The program started at 5 in the evening, had to finish at around 8. At about 7 o'clock, I suddenly started to feel that we needed to go there. And I told my wife, let's go for the last half an hour so that, we don't miss it fully and they don't feel bad that we didn't come. So at 7:30 we arrived at the ashram, and at that point of time the Swamiji started a meditation. So we sat wherever we found a place, and as soon as I closed my eyes, I saw Swami Rama standing in front of me in a white robe. He first picked up his robe and he said, you take my Pad Namaskar. And I felt those feet, they were absolutely real. And thereafter he started to talk to me, and he started to give me instructions in the purpose of life. And for the next 25 minutes, I was lost in a complete discussion with Swami Rama. In flesh and blood, I saw him. And as soon as I opened my eyes, I realized the meditation was over, and everybody was going and meeting that Swamiji. And I was just in that experience of mine. It was so profound. Something like that had never happened to me. So I just sat in a corner. I didn't want to meet anybody. Didn't share anything, not even with my wife, what had happened. And after about half an hour, when everybody had met, all the devotees had met the Swamiji, the lady who's the head of the ashram, she called me by name and she said, why won't you come, Vikas, to meet the Swamiji and take his blessings? So now I didn't have any other option but to go. So I called my wife, and both of us went for the blessings from that Swamiji. So then the Swamiji asked me, so how was your experience? And I recounted to him what exactly happened to me. So he immediately said, oh, the Guru has come. Why don't you take Diksha? And I instantly said, no, I don't want any Diksha. I have one Guru, Satya Sai Baba, and I don't want any Diksha from anybody else. So he smiled at me. Then he looked at my wife and he asked her, so how was your experience? And my wife said she also saw him standing in front of him, and he kept telling her, oh, my child, my daughter, please take Diksha. And my wife, who would never ever speak her mind, she would keep things to herself. She was not very outspoken. First time in my living memory with my experiences with her, she said, I want Diksha. And since we had never done anything, separately, I said, okay, if she's taking it, I will also take it. One good thing I did, I instantly realized I can't let her do it alone. And so the lady told us, okay, come tomorrow morning, after a bath at 6:30 and your Diksha will be arranged. And I told her, I said, look, no, I want my Diksha now. Right now, I'm ready. Who knows whether I'll come back tomorrow or not? And she got very angry and upset with me. And she said, are you stupid? There are rules and norms of giving a Diksha. And you got to get flowers and fruit and whatever. And before the argument could go any further, the Swamiji smiled and he said, these two will get Diksha now. And the lady protested saying, but this is not as per norms. He says, no, right now, no norms are going to be followed. So that night at 9 o'clock in the night, the two of us were taken for Diksha and I was brought in first. And the Swamiji said, whatever mantra you are going to get, you're never to ever disclose it to anyone ever. This is your own mantra. I said, okay, Swamiji, I will not. He says, not even with your wife. I said, okay. And then there was an experience that I had. I heard the voice of Swami Rama in my ear. A mantra was given to me. It was, he explained the mantra to me. And then he said that this is absolutely strange and fascinating. I said, what happened, Swamiji? He said, look, first of all, you are the first initiate who's been given a mantra in the night. The Guru was actually standing there and saying, please give them Diksha right now. So first one to break this rule and to get it in the night. Secondly, in our lineage, there are different mantras for different levels of disciples. So as the initiate keeps moving forward, there are different mantras given in the Himalayan lineage. And he said it's the first time that an initiate, that the first time disciple is got the highest mantra in our lineage. So he says, you've been given the highest mantra and Swamiji came himself and gave you the mantra. So he says, I feel blessed that I am here just performing this. So I didn't know what to make out of it, except I just felt there was some blessing that had brought us there. And I was still stubborn, not wanting it. But, thankfully to my wife, I got something which would soon change my life. And then I was asked to go out and my wife was sent in. And after 10 minutes, I was called in. And that Swamiji started to laugh and he was crying and laughing both. And he said, this is incredible. Because what happened with me exactly happened with my wife. She also got the same mantra. And he said, for a couple to have it like this, it has never happened in our tradition, right? And the reason I'm sharing with you is 2 times in my life I was stubborn. Once when it came to Satya Sai Baba, I was stubborn that I didn't want to go to him. And then for a guru that I really loved, but I never wanted a mantra. But that mantra had to come to me and it came. And many times like this in our lives, we create, because we have a strong attachment to a guru. At that point of time, when something else is coming for us, we block it because we either think of loyalty to our guru or we think of our attachment to the guru or of sheer whatever. There is something between the mind and the heart that happens that does not allow us to be fully present to the gift that the consciousness wants to give us in that particular moment. And that, therefore, the attraction and attachment to the guru itself becomes a thorn in us. And therefore, we must utilize the understanding of who the guru truly is and use it when it comes from any other teacher, any other, source, and utilize it to first clear our understanding who is my guru and is the guru a form. And the guru starts with a form, but the final understanding and the final experience comes when some other guru in a body comes and helps us to install something far more subtler inside of us and makes us experience that the guru actually is only one. He comes in different forms. He takes different forms at different times just to give us the message that we are needing at that time. And many times the messenger is right next to us and we keep blocking the messenger out because of some stubbornness, and we are not able to perceive. But it's the same Guru, because the Guru will keep using different bodies, will keep using different forms, will keep using different, identities, right? And once we get that, we must install the formless Guru inside of us, because that Guru, after having taken various forms, becomes that formless consciousness and then is available for us throughout our lives, right? So remember, he's here inside of us. The Guru becomes, as Swami Rama says, Guru becomes Guru Deva. The Guru is the one with the form, and Guru Deva is the one which is to be worshipped inside of us. And that Guru Deva is there present all through our lives as that one supreme consciousness. That consciousness is a teacher. That consciousness is a guide. That consciousness is our own identity as well. And there are these subtle layers of experiencing this oneness. And till that merger is made, till that oneness is experienced at all times, and till all stubbornness, all fixed ideas, all notions, all likes and dislikes, till they merge into this oneness, till that time, we will keep getting messages from the outside. It's our ability to recognize the message and not the messenger and internalize it. And once we have internalized it, we experience that eternal peace. And once we have faith, first on the outer Guru and then on the inner Guru, then this faith gives us the experience, which is what I always refer to as knowingness. We start knowing, we always know, and this knowingness becomes ultimately beingness. You are always in the state of being, because knowingness is also finished, because knowingness came because you still had a faith. Faith is that there is somebody else. Knowingness means that you now are beginning to know that there is no one else but you. And in the stage of beingness, only you remain. Then the Guru and you have merged as one. All duality stops. And that is what we've come to experience. So we've got to use the higher mind, convince the lower mind to have faith. And that one act of faith can, immediately and that helps us to surrender. The lower mind surrenders to the higher mind because they have a faith in a person other than you, and you follow that. And as you start following, a transformation starts to take place. And that convinces the lower mind that we are in safe hands. And therefore, it stops complaining. It stops starting to digress us from our path. It starts to become in consonance with the one consciousness. And so that is where the peace is. The restlessness is because the mind is screaming and saying something else. And as this oneness comes, we start experiencing peace and contentment. So we need this one time. So do remember this whole phrase of Kathopanishad that you need a thorn only to take out the thorn that is embedded in us, which is giving us a problem, which is giving us a pain. And once you've taken the thorn out, both the thorns, their use is over and they need to be trashed. And that's the reason why every good guru, every guru who's actually a guru, distances himself or herself away from his disciple when the disciple is ready. Because then only in that separation can you experience that actually the Guru is not the body. The Guru comes as Satya Sai Baba's first message in 1940 when he was 14 years old, when he said, I have come to light the lamp of love in your heart so that it grows brightly. Because once the light of the lamp has been lit and once the flame starts to grow, then you don't need the presence of another light. You have to be the light. You are the light. And that light then starts to provide the path, removes the darkness from the path of so many others around. So I hope this helps you and it clarifies if you still had some doubts. So I want to thank all of you for being here and for being part of this incredible journey that we are all on. And I was moved by the experiences that all of you shared yesterday. It's a living testimony of the profound effect of this Parayanam, and that makes me very happy that we're all moving together, and this strong bond of love and light is manifesting through us, and we are now beginning to experience that consciousness, that light in ourselves. So with that, I would like to end my part of the session. Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Love you all. Saram. All right, ball is in your court now. All right. Good night. Ciao. Bye-bye. Sai down.